Hello, everyone. Thank you for chiming in. I'm Jacob Broadhead. I'm fairly new to the design world, hoping to get to know everyone in the community a little bit better. But I wanted to hop on and make this little YouTube series about design systems and kind of the basics behind design systems, how we can make them efficiently, save ourselves a lot of time, and make handoffs with other developers and other designers a lot cleaner. But a little bit of background about me. I started my design experience in motion graphics, actually. I did a lot of special effects and motion graphics in Adobe, mostly in Adobe After Effects, a little bit of Adobe Animate. But I did that throughout high school. And it was really fun. I really enjoyed making things. And Adobe allowed me to make whatever my mind could come up with. Growing up, I was a very imaginative kid. I was that kid out on the playground waving a pencil, pretending it was a wand, and having these little adventures with my friends. And I could never show anybody what it was I was seeing in my mind. And special effects and animation allowed me to start to do that. And that's how I really got into design in general. I took a few years though, and I actually sidetracked and I went into construction. I started my own little business doing concrete demolition. And I enjoyed it. It was fun. I like physical labor, but it was not something I saw myself doing long term. I wanted to get back into being creative and sharing my mind and my thoughts with the rest of the world and also make a difference. And I found UX design and it was perfect for me. I knew I could be creative. I could use that side of my brain that wants to be creative and artistic, but I could also be very analytical and scientific and really break things down in a way that would help other people. So user experience design is perfect for that, and that's why I'm in it. That's why I love it. So back to the series, I decided to do this because I'm mostly self-taught. I've had some education, but a lot of what I've learned has been self-taught, especially when it comes to design tools like Figma, Sketch, Adobe XD, which is fine. I think to be a successful designer, you have to be able to be willing to teach yourself some things. You have to be able to learn on the job while you're in the application, try out new things, see what you can figure out. But that being said, it's always helpful when someone comes on and gives you a little boost when you don't have to spend hours searching for material to give you that little heads up. So I thought I'd make this to give everyone that head start that I wish I had. Now, keep in mind, I'm by no means an expert designer yet. Like I said, I'm still fairly new, but these are things I've found to be helpful and constructive, and they really help speed up the process for me and help me be more effective as a designer. So to jump in, welcome to the Introduction to Design Systems. This will probably be a 10 to 12 episode series that, and obviously we can go further into it if you guys want me to. But some of the things we're going to go over, we're going to start with organization. What do I mean by organization? I mean your file. In this instance, I'm going to use Figma because that's kind of becoming an industry standard, and I think everybody should know how to use Figma. And that's where I'm comfortable. So I'm going to do this in Figma. Organization of your Figma file. Where are you keeping your assets? How are you laying out your design system? Are you able to very quickly and very easily navigate through the file to find what you need to find? And will other people who aren't familiar with your work be able to do the same thing? So we want to make sure we lay things out in a very simplistic and very easily accessible way. After that, we're going to go into color palettes. Now, I'm going to do probably two different videos on color palettes. The first one will be very basic. You know, what are some of we won't go too deep into the theory behind colors, but we'll go a little bit into color theory. How do we choose a color palette? How do we set up a color palette in a way that is easy for us to use? Then we'll do another video that's a little more in depth, some other ways you can do it. You know, there are countless ways you could go about making your color palette. We're only going to go over a couple of them, but we'll do one or two videos on that. After that, we're going to go into color styles. How do I take my color palette and set it up in Figma so that I can use it across my designs effectively and efficiently? And this can be done in Sketch and Adobe XD as well. Everything we're going to go over can be done in both design tools. After color styles, though, we're going to go into type scales. We're going to dabble into typography. How do we choose the appropriate font and typeface? How do we set it up in a way that's easy for us to show other people what each typeface represents? You know, if I have a heading, a title, a subheading, a caption font size, I want to be able to lay all those out so people know what they're looking at, especially my other designers and developers when it comes time for them to implement my designs. So after type scales, we're going to go into text styles. Text styles is basically the same as color styles except with text. We're going to find a way to take our type scale and our typography and implement it into our design tool that in a way that will let us use it effectively. After that, we're going to touch on grids. Grids are super, super important, super helpful when you are designing a layout, whether it be mobile or desktop or somewhere in between. They're super helpful. So we're going to go into, how do I choose the grid that's best for what I'm doing? How do I apply it across my designs consistently? After that, we will look at components. How do I not just make a component, but make a component that's going to be effective, a good use of my time and my cognitive load? How do I make components that are going to save me a lot of time in the long run, both in high and low fidelity designs? And then lastly, we're going to talk about handoff prep. How can I put all these things together in a way that I can deliver them to a developer or a stakeholder or another group of designers, and they'll be able to very quickly and easily say, okay, I know what this is. I need to take this and implement it this way, or pick up where I left off. So those are the 8 overall topics we're going to discuss. Some of them will go a little bit more in depth than others. So yeah, we'll start with the next video starting on organization, and we'll go from there. Thanks.